I'm Eric Sandler, city editor for Culture Map.
I'm David Leftwich, editor of Edible Houston.
I'm Felice Sloan, Swanky Maven.
The Full Menu is a production of Houston Public Media with support from Central Market.
It's prime time for sports. Obviously the Super Bowl is this weekend. The UH Cougars are making another run towards potentially an NCAA basketball title. The Rockets are better than they've been in years. And we're about to get our first look at the revamped Astros, which is a long way of saying it's a time to talk about sports bars.
Well, I'm more curious how your fantasy football team did now that we're into this.
The first rule of fantasy football is that no one cares about your fantasy football team, which is my way of saying it was a rough season.
Right, that's what I was going to say. That's code for he did not do so well.
All right, well, I'm probably not the best sports bar person, but like the sports bar, I just kind of think of it's got to have a couple of TVs and some decent food and some drinks. And so I'm pretty wide open on what I consider a sports bar, or where I would watch sports. Let's put it that way, where I would watch sports.
I need vibes. I need
atmosphere.
That's what I was going to say.
Enthusiasm.
David, what are you talking about? I need all those things, but if there's no vibes there, why am I here? Like, if I can't talk a little smack, if I can't feel like I'm at the stadium, but I'm watching the game, getting service, food, and again, all the things. Seating is important. Vibe is important. And you have to have enough, I think, TVs. Even if you don't have enough TVs, they have to be strategically placed that I feel like you have enough TVs. Am I right, Eric?
Yeah, and the staff has to know how to put the game that I want to watch on. Like, they can't be messed around with the remotes.
All the things.
You got to have all the packages. All right, so Felice, kick us off. What is one of your favorite sports bars around Houston?
My list, I'm going to do new school, old school a little bit. So I'm going to do more of a newer school-ish Patterson Park. Since I said vibes, it's very vibey. You're going to get the vibes indoors and outdoors because I'm cocktails more than beer. So they're going to have great cocktails and beer. There's going to be food truck in rotation, so I'm going to be able to get food. And there's TVs, and it's just all the things. Like, it is so much fun to watch a game there.
I'll build on that because right around the corner from Patterson Park is Rock House Southern Kitchen. They have live music, but it's a great place to watch sports. They have really fun Southern food like oxtail egg rolls. They have a really great cocktail selection and more than enough TVs to follow all of the game day action.
I admit, this would not be where I would pick, but it does fit a lot of this criteria, and that's Drift Bar over in Shady Acres. It's got, 50 TVs, big space. You can get a big crowd in there. If there's a big game, it's packed. It does have that vibe. Now, it's probably not going to be my first choice, but it does fit that sports bar criteria.
Give us your first choice then. Like, if you were going to do a first choice.
I would probably pick something like Easy's Liquor Lounge in the Heights. You have to sit at the bar. There's a couple of 3 TVs. It's got good cocktails,
more
good
sophisticated.
beer,
See, they're supposed to.
good food.
I like
it. You can. And it's got classic kind of chili con carne, chili pie. You can get a chili dog. There's a theme here. So good classic Texas bar food, good cocktails, fun vibe.
I like what you're selling. I like it. I like the bougie. You're like a bougie sports enthusiast. I like it.
Another thing that comes to mind is I like when a sports bar is associated with a professional athlete. Mm-hmm. That leads me to Pitch 25 in Edo.
Favorite.
Houston Dynamo legend Brian Ching is one of the owners. And again, it's absolutely massive. It's got an indoor soccer pitch. It's got all of the TVs that you could ever possibly want. It's got a great outdoor patio. Really great drinks and good wings. Like, give me wings is mandatory in a sports bar for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna go pub this time. Poor behavior, and this is more for I'm feeling good food. I want good food, kind of hanging out, and we're gonna watch the game as well. I'm going here because they have good seating, great food selection for beyond bar food a little bit. You can go a little bit beyond the bar food, more pub food.
I'll stick with the pub theme.
Okay.
And, Phoenix on Westheimer is, it's kind of got that kind of classic dark wood British pub. It's great. They are big soccer fans there, so there's a lot of soccer games going on. It's extensive menu. It's got some good stuff if you want vegetarian or vegan. You even have some vegan options. But, it's that kind of just classic dark wood British style pub. There are a lot of soccer fans in Houston. I mean, they show other sports there too. They pretty much show all the sports. But
Well, let's keep the pub thing going. Obviously, we can't do this and not mention the Maple Leaf Pub in Midtown Houston's premier hockey fan destination. It's got a Canadian kind of vibe. So if you want to get a Labatt's or a Molson, that is available to you. If you want poutine, obviously that is one of the things to get there. But really, you talk about that atmosphere. Like, this is where Houston hockey faithful gather to watch all of their favorite teams.
We love our ice houses here, and West Alabama Ice House, that's one of my favorites. I like all the ice houses, but West Alabama Ice House is probably my favorite. It's always a good time. They have amazing vibes. They just know how to do it. Like, that's what they do, with plenty of seating, plenty of TVs, and it's just a good time.
all right, Felice, once again, I'm going to riff off of you and go with a classic. But I'm going to go out on the west side and go for Nick's Place, which is, just out on Westheimer, old school sports bar. Been doing it since 1993, kind of doing Italian-inspired bar food. It's just, a classic sports bar.
No, absolutely. Nick's Place is great. As I mentioned, we're headed into spring training. The Astros are about to start. So for Astros faithful in Edo, there is Kobo's. They do kind of a Mexican. They do like a little Tex-Mex stuff. They do some barbecue stuff. And with the I-45 construction coming, I think this may be their last season. So the time is right. Like, soak in that game day atmosphere. You never know if an Astros player is going to show up anywhere after a game to be around the fans. Like, it's probably Kobo's, because they have that really hardcore Astros fan audience.
This is very classic. It's kind of off the hidden path. I like a little hidden gem honeycomb hideout. It's going to be the deck on Fountain View. Now, I go there even if there's no game, because people are like, what? It's a great place to watch the game because you have the indoor and then outdoor, and the food is pretty good, but it's such a good time. It's such a good time. We go there, watch games. It's so fun. If you just want kind of like where you talk about just kind of like a chill vibe, you have a whole lot of friends and y'all want to have a good time, the deck on Fountain View.
I'm going to go kind of getting downtown area like Eric mentioned, but this is going to be over I'm going to Flying Saucer downtown. It's, if you could watch a game, you can go there before an Astros game or after an Astros game. It's, you can walk there from the stadium, but it's, German-inspired pub food. You can get your bratwurst, your Reuben with a jalapeno sauerkraut. You can get and they have a gazillion beers on tap and in bottle and can. So, if you're a beer lover and a sports lover, and it's kind of a classic vibe with kind of in a cooler, older downtown building.
I like the old school places. I like the kind of humble places, but I also like a little glitzier place, a little more stylish, a little more contemporary. So give me Moxie's near the Galleria. This is a Canadian import, and what they 2 stories, really big open space. They got a little sushi. They got steaks. They got burgers. They got basically everything you could possibly want. Again, good cocktails and more than enough TVs. Plenty of TVs.
I'm going to say the Social Beer Garden in Midtown. I'm not a big beer person, so they have a lot of craft beers, but they also have the different food trucks on rotation. It's very, very cute. So for I always say my little cousins, they love There's the ones that told me about it. Because I was like, where do you guys go watch the game? And they're like, oh, Midtown.
I'm going to go really divey this time, and I'm just going to go to the Shiloh Club in the Heights. It is just a dive bar with a couple of TVs. They may or may not have food, but they always have like a Super Bowl party. They always have stuff for the World Series. They have TVs, this for the Super Bowl. They're actually complimentary hamburgers and hot dogs and, cheap well drinks. And, they've got a patio, and it's, your kind of divey sports bar, neighborhood sports bar.
All right, well, I'm going to go with the complete opposite of a divey neighborhood sports bar. Because if we don't mention Kirby Ice House, I feel like we will not have done our jobs. They are known for having the longest bar in Texas, and every time they open a new one, they make the new one slightly longer so that that new one can have the longest bar in Texas. But they started near the Upper Kirby district. They went out to Memorial. Now they're in the Woodlands. They're coming pretty soon to kind of the north end of the Heights. Dozens and dozens of beers on tap. All of the cocktails, frozen, shake, and stir that you could possibly want. And, they keep a small fleet of food trucks busy with, how popular these bars are with the indoor seating and the outdoor patio and the games and everything. Like, there really is it is the 800-pound gorilla of Houston sports bars.
Next to that would be like Little Woodrow's. If we're gonna go there, next would be Little Woodrow's. They have many locations. There are always going to be plenty of big screen TVs. You're going to get the outdoor patios. You're going to have food. And just depending on which ones you go to, some folks like, oh, I love the one in Edo. Like they all are.
I mean, some of their TVs are massive. You can watch the sports game driving by the bar. Well, I'll get since we're doing mini chain or a little bit, I like 8 Row Flint. I've watched many a World Series game. They have 2 locations, one in the Heights, one over in the East End. They've got a great bourbon and whiskey selection. The menus are a little different at each one, but the good cocktails, good food. Some decent tacos. Like I really like, maybe it's not very sports bar-y, but I really like their crispy Brussels sprout taco. But again, good, and sometimes for the big games, they'll bring in a giant TV just for that, for the World Series. I mean, we're talking full screen, big TV.
Well, yeah, and look, if you're talking about big screen TVs, like the projector screens and the kind of Vegas sportsbook atmosphere, we can't do this and not mention Biggio's in the Marriott Marquis. I mean, obviously it's named for one of the greatest Astros of all time, a Hall of Famer, Craig Biggio. It's got the sliders, it's got the wings, it's got all the cold beer. It's very close to Minute Maid Park. It's very close to Dakin Park. So it's a great spot to sort of pregame or postgame seeing the Astros play.
The ice box.
Yeah. As always, anytime we do one of these segments, we never have enough time to list all of the places that we love, that are fun to go to, that are great to watch games. So, use this as a starting point, and then explore your neighborhoods. Enjoy Houston. Go Stros. I'm Eric Sandler, city editor for Culture Map.
I'm David Leftwich, editor of Edible Houston.
I'm Felice Sloan, Swanky Maven.
And you're listening to Houston Matters with Craig Cohen.